Hello, I'm Liz and welcome to my super relaxed English learning podcast. If you're already a fan of my English pronunciation videos, you might be curious about what's different here. Well, this podcast is like a cosy little corner where we dive into natural British English, the kind of language that crops up in everyday conversations. In other words, the raw, gritty side of British English, the kind that's alive in the streets and pubs. And as you can see, every podcast will feature a highlighted transcript, as reading and listening at the same time is a great way to learn English. And what's this? Well, this is my pink microphone, or mic for short. So, why is it pink? Well, it's the only one I've got. A bit tacky looking, yes, I know, but it's pink and it's shiny, which makes it tacky. Anyway, actually it's from my karaoke machine, my weapon of choice when I channel my inner Tina Turner, belting out Simply the Best. You should see it. It's a real showstopper. Not. For those of you who might not be familiar with such a thing, a karaoke machine plays music tracks where you're the star, belting out lyrics flashing across the screen. It's great fun, especially at festive times. Picture it. Christmas. Family gathered. Everyone's a star in their own right. We've got a Frank Sinatra wannabe, can't pry the mic from his hands, and an Elvis impersonator with leg moves that could churn butter. It's enough to make you throw up your Quality Street. Oh yes, and what about those Quality Street? Those shiny wrapped temptations. Well, Quality Street is a brand name for a selection of wrapped chocolates and toffees. They're a permanent fixture in most homes over Christmas, including mine. They're like the unsung heroes of British Christmases. And they've held a special place in our hearts since they were launched back in the 30s. Can't stand them myself, but they're like a tradition. You can't celebrate Christmas without them. Just ask anyone, what's your favourite Quality Street? We've all got one, including me. Mine's the green foil triangle one. The trouble is, everyone likes that one, and I hardly ever get it. Why? Because you have to be first to put your hand in the tin and grab it. I mean, there's more than one, but... Anyway, so if you're first to choose from the tin, you're very lucky. Otherwise, by the time everyone else has chosen, there are no green ones left, and all you're left with are the flat toffees that pull your teeth out. And that's not a good look on Christmas Day. Come to think of it, it's not a good look on any day. Whatever you do, don't let Grandad near them. They wreak havoc with false teeth. Anyway, about this word karaoke, as we say it over here in the UK. Now, if however you're from Japan, say hi
Konnichiwa.
to everyone out there in Japan, if you're watching. Now, you probably say it completely differently because it's actually a Japanese word. You might say karaoke. Sorry about that if you are Japanese. I apologise for my pronunciation. It's one compound word made up of two parts of two Japanese words. That sounds simple. Okay, so the first is karapo, which means empty, and okesutora, which translates to orchestra in English. Now, if you take kara or kara from karapo and add it to oke from okesutora, you get karaoke, or as we say it, karaoke. So, Karaoke essentially means empty orchestra because you sing along with pre-recorded music instead of a live band. We have lots of these kinds of words in English actually, and they're like linguistic cocktails, blending two words to form one. They actually have a name and they're called, wait for it, portmanteaus. Not portmanteaus or portmanteaus. The stress is a bit tricky with this one, but it's usually on the man. Isn't it always? But one of my favourites is primani. This is a portmanteau of pri from Primark, which is basically a cheap clothing chain, and Marni from Armani, an expensive high-end designer brand led by fashion titan Giorgio Armani. I'm not sure how widely the word primani is used or how long it's been around for, but it does appear in the Urban Dictionary, if you dare go there. But what a cheeky combination. Classic British humour finding laughs in the unexpected. It's a brilliant example of irony. A really cheap clothes shop linked with an expensive designer brand. I mean, that's ironic. Now, irony is, of course, typical British humour. But what exactly is it? Well, put simply, irony is a type of humour that expresses something that it's not. We say one thing but mean another. Now, let me give you an example, okay, just to make it a bit clearer. So, okay, it's pouring with rain outside, as it's doing right now. Not unusual for this country at the moment in the month of November. Anyway, so I get up in the morning and it's raining outside. And so what do I say? Just to give myself a lift. And for a bit of a laugh. Another beautiful day. And that, my friends, is irony. But anyway, getting back to portmanteaus, manteaus, as opposed to woman toes. A really common one, which you may already know, is brunch. This is one for when you get up late. Too late for breakfast and too early for lunch. In other words, when breakfast meets lunch because you rolled out of bed too late. Well, I don't know about you, but that's my Saturday ritual. I enjoy a nice lie-in, and so brunch is something I often have after a lie-in at the weekend. Of course, it's very common for people to say a lay-in, but that's not grammatically correct. To lay, in the present tense, is to lay something down, such as to lay an egg or lay the table. Whereas to lie is a verb that usually means to be in a horizontal position. I always have a laugh to myself when people say they're having a lay-in, because my imagination runs riot, thinking of them laying eggs in bed. Anyway, back to brunch. Take the br from breakfast and add it to unch from lunch, and you have the word brunch. Simple. Now, for me, a brunch normally occurs on a Saturday after I've got up, about maybe 9:30 or even 10 a.m. Anyway, what does a brunch consist of? For us unhealthy Brits, it's what we call a full English. Bacon, eggs, tomatoes, mushrooms, sausages, baked beans, black pudding, a bit of fried bread on the side. Of course, if you're slightly more health conscious, you might have smashed avocado on toast with extra virgin olive oil or eggs Benedict Basically, Eggs Benedict is poached eggs on toast with a bit of mayonnaise. Oh, hush my mouth. I should have said hollandaise sauce. If you want to be posh, that is. The only difference is a bit of butter. But don't say that you got it from me. Anyway, and across the channel there's flunch. Flunch! If you've ever been to France, you will have probably seen it advertised on large billboards along the motorway. It's basically French fast food, where the F in fast means lunch. No, where the F in fast meets lunch. Flunch. A fast lunch. Another example of a portmanteau. No, actually, I said that wrong. Another example of a portmanteau. Anyway, speaking of food, ever been so hungry you're angry? I have. That's hangry for you. Hunger and anger in a tight embrace. It's another portmanteau. You get hangry when you're so hungry you're angry. So we combine hungry with angry and get hangry. Anyway, the time is now 10:30 a.m. here in the UK. Time to walk into town to work up a bit of an appetite and grab some brunch. You grab brunch because you're so hungry, because you've missed breakfast. So you just grab it. Of course, if I was having lunch, I would have a spot of lunch. Far more civilised. Oh, and I could also drop into Primani for a shopping spree. Now, for us shopaholics, it's perfect. Why? Well, it means you can shop till you drop without breaking the bank. And there you are, yet another portmanteau. Shop meets alcoholic to make shopaholic. Well, nobody's perfect, including me. Until next time, keep it cool, love and peace.